What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Yee Yee Podcast. It is officially Thanksgiving week, which falls a little bit in the same category as the week between Christmas and New Year's, where time doesn't really exist. Right? Everyone's got like 2 or 3 days of work. I don't know. Do most people get off the Friday after Thanksgiving? We give that off here. I don't know. At Yee Yee, we're a smaller company, and so we kind of just get to decide when we give holidays. And sometimes I'm like, does the rest of the world usually have to work on this day? Like Christmas falls on a Monday this year. And I'm like, you can't go back to work the day after Christmas, right?
I like that. I like Monday Christmas. I liked, what was it, Tuesday Halloween? Or was it Tuesday? I like middle of the week, because then you still have your weekend days off, and it's like you could enjoy your weekend, and then you get a bonus. Christmas is on Monday. Last year, Christmas on Sunday was just weird.
It was weird.
You know, we went to church that morning, and
so it's Monday this year.
Yeah, I think it'll feel much more normal.
And is New Year's on a Monday this year as well?
Yes,
that's the nice thing about
Brian's saying
Thanksgiving.
yes.
So the only bad thing about that, though, is you guys will have to be in the office if it's on a Monday. But instead of getting here at 9, y'all can get here about 10. Because y'all will be opening presents.
New Year's Eve is a Sunday night. How weird is that?
Yeah.
Sunday night, New Year's Eve.
I like it. Once again, I like it because you still preserve your weekend.
So to Parker's point, do you go to work on Tuesdays? Do people go to work?
Do we give off, if Christmas is on a Monday, do we give off Tuesday, the day after Christmas, or would you rather have off Friday?
So my father-in-law, Dan, every year when he worked for FedEx, he always went back to work on Monday, or the next day, December 26th. He always did.
Doesn't he have PTO, though? Like he can decide that?
No,
if he saves up?
I know Dandry, he's retired now, but when he was working for FedEx,
that's the busiest time for them.
As a driver, you go back on the 26th. And sometimes he would leave Christmas Day to go back to work that afternoon or whatever. But so a lot of businesses, Tuesday they're back. No doubt.
Where do you guys think Thanksgiving lines up in the rankings compared to the rest of the holidays? Where do you think you put it?
Warm up for Christmas, watch some football, eat some good food, shoot some deer.
So number...
Yeah, he's talking about numbers. So behind Halloween for you, right?
No.
Halloween's your favorite.
Just kidding. I hate Halloween.
It's number two.
For sure. It's for sure number 2.
Why do you hate Halloween?
It's just a stupid holiday. And my kids eat way too much candy.
Why is it stupid? Elaborate.
Is from the devil, Parker.
Well, it's technically not. It's technically the day before Reformation Day or whatever. But right? Or is it D-Day? Anyway, right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Name the holidays real quick, and we'll rank them for you.
I was curious because Granger's going to get a lot of feedback on that Halloween take. I'm curious. What is the Reformation?
Oh my gosh, Parker! You're asking me questions you already know just because you want me to say it on the microphone. Reformation is Martin Luther nailing the 95 Theses on the church door. So apparently, in the Catholic Church, for a long time, they would dress up as their favorite saints. So that's where the costumes came from. They dressed up as their favorite saints. And I'm gonna
what do you think about Catholics?
I'm gonna get this wrong, but they would go door to door, and then it turned into. So it was originally a Catholic holiday. Halloween it's not one of these like Easter where it's pagan or that kind of stuff. Like Easter's totally pagan. Bunnies and eggs, that is totally pagan. That's the goddess of fertility. That represents bunnies and eggs and snakes, which snakes don't sell as well as chocolate. You don't buy chocolate snakes. That doesn't sell as well, so bunnies has become like the thing, but totally pagan. Easter, even that word Easter is pagan.
So you'd put Christmas at 1 and Thanksgiving at 2.
Who wouldn't put those 1 and 2?
Well, we can call it Resurrection Day if you want to counteract the Easter. I love Easter, the day itself. I love bluebonnets, springtime, of waking up. He is risen. A good spring meal.
We've had a few Easters with snow on the ground though.
I would say Easter's 2 for me, if we want to call it, because I just blasted that name Easter because it's pagan. If you want to call it Resurrection Day, that's number 2 for me. Thanksgiving be number 3.
I saw something the other day. A guy was like ranking the top holidays, and he put Christmas 1, Easter 2, Thanksgiving 3, and then he did honorable mentions were 4th of July and New Year's. And everyone was like, bro, you're joking putting Easter above Thanksgiving. And I was like, well, it makes sense to the average person. Everyone's like, Easter's trash, all this stuff.
No, it depends on maybe how you celebrate it. I've actually missed a lot of Easters because of on tour coming back. But as a kid, think about it as a kid. Easter's way better than Thanksgiving. Way better. Yeah.
Not necessarily.
It depends on how hardcore you go with the Easter
Depends on
bunny.
how old you are too, because if you're talking about kid like in 6th grade, 7th grade, that whole week is fun. It's football. You get off of school. Easter just one day. Easter's cool if you're a little kid because you run out and get Easter eggs and candy.
True. I just think about springtime. I love Texas springtime. I love bluebonnets. And so thinking about Easter church services, those are so fun. So yeah, I'm with that guy.
It was Christmas and Thanksgiving. Like initially, your gut said that, but as of recently, since your rebirth,
No,
it's
dude.
It's
think
Easter.
about
It's
the old
number 2.
lake house, going to the lake house, hunting eggs with Gran and Paul.
It was
and
never as good as Thanksgiving.
Chocolate. Okay, well, don't put your opinion on my opinion.
Well, I'm just saying you said Christmas 1, Thanksgiving 2, and then you're like, wait a minute. If you change Easter to resurrection, it's 2.
No, rewind the tape. I didn't say Thanksgiving 2. You said where does it rank? And I said Christmas is first.
And then you said Thanksgiving.
I think Thanksgiving's a warm up.
All right,
Thanksgiving
so
is a warm up.
anyway,
But let me just
what happens
agree
when
with
you get
that.
brothers on a podcast?
Let me agree with what the dude said. Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, 4th of July. But I don't put New Year's is stupid. It's just good for football. That is the only thing. I love football.
It goes back to how old you were, because when you were a kid, we would stay up to midnight and bang pots and pans with mom and dad.
We would be asleep at 9.
I would.
We'd be asleep at 9, like my kids are. My kids have never, ever made it to midnight.
But the older you get,
Ben, have you ever
go
made
to
it to
sleep.
midnight?
Yeah.
He has.
Yeah.
Ben has. Brian, have you made it to midnight before? He has. But 4th of July, that's a little bit underrated. Like, that's a good holiday. That's a solid holiday. If you plan ahead and you have like a trip on the lake or fireworks or a group together, that's a good holiday. Underrated.
I was just thinking when I saw that list and I saw all the hate on Easter, and I was like, if I were not a Christian, then Easter is so lame as an adult. You have to go home, you have to go to church, or if your parents are Catholic, you have to go to mass, you have to dress up, you have a brunch. It's just a lame
brunch. Easter
not
brunch.
Christian though. Why are you doing those things if you're not Christian?
Because that's just what we do in America. You go home and then you go to mass with your family, or you go to church with your family. That's
once a year.
Yeah, eggs and trees, right? That's when people go to church, because it's changing, but for the most part, America is a culturally Christian nature. So we're like, yeah, Jesus was born on this day, put up a nativity scene, whatever that means. Go to church with your family on Christmas. Jesus died for our sins. That's great. But other than that, it's just like, you'd much rather be like, at least Halloween has like some other interesting stuff. 4th of July, like,
That's what I'm
why
saying.
would you not
It's-
want to be downing beers with your boys on the lake?
It's the phase
you
of
know?
your life that
Yeah.
you're in.
Yeah.
It's going to vary.
Let me just say one last thing too. There's a connection. There's a nostalgic connection to these holidays with the seasons changing. So Halloween, one of the coolest things about Halloween, I think, is literally the cool weather. It's the leaves are falling. It's like a lot of times you get out on Halloween night, and that's like, ooh, the first time I got to wear a jacket. At
Definitely.
least in Texas. So there's a nostalgia
Knowing
with
that
Easter.
Thanksgiving and Christmas are coming up.
Okay, yeah, maybe for sure. Easter, it's the same thing. It's like springtime, summer's coming. Easter's going to symbolize summer's coming soon.
And then New Year's is just like the holidays are over.
Stupid.
Going back to
Stupid
work.
holiday.
Now we have 6 months until summer. So now it's going to January. Got to go through January, February. It's just going to be cold. There's nothing to look forward to.
New Year's Eve used to be one of my biggest dates of the year as a touring artist. And I never really wanted to play it. I always just kind of had to pay some bills. But yeah.
Okay, so this podcast is about Thanksgiving. What are maybe either Thanksgiving memory that comes up or some of your favorite things about Thanksgiving? Mine is watching Texas A&M in Texas play football. Was always so much fun growing up.
Yeah.
Especially being an A&M fan.
And
I had
then,
great memories doing
and
that.
then that became LSU.
Boo. What do y'all think about Jimbo Fisher getting fired?
I wasn't down for it at first. I wasn't the guy that would have suggested it, but when it happened, and then kind of in hindsight, it took so much national media attention. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like it.
Because it brought attention to A&M?
Just because when I saw the attention, I realized that the next hire is going to be a big deal. You know?
Yeah, I mean, the Jimbo hire was a big deal. The Francione was a big deal. Someone was a big deal.
Yeah, I guess. It's just a cool little steroid shot.
So are they gonna get Saban or Kirby Smart?
No.
People are getting piping mad right now watching this.
No. I would say Dan Lanning. I would say.
What do you think about Dan Campbell? Remember him, the tight end?
My father-in-law.
He turned around the Lions.
He's
right
an
now.
NFL guy.
They're 6-2.
College is a
7-2.
different beast. He's not going to come to college.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he went to A&M. Like,
Yeah, I just think there's too much of a hurdle to go from the NFL.
Man,
back
so
to
it's-
this
college.
podcast just jumps subjects so fast, don't we? I think it's this is crazy.
All right, let's get back to Thanksgiving.
we're talking about Thanksgiving though, which is you said is football, and we're talking about
That's the
A&M and
connection.
Texas, and that's a big deal with Jimbo getting fired, and A&M and Texas are playing next year for the first time in a decade.
Lane Kiffin, Mike Elko, Dan Lanning. Is that his name? Yeah.
People hate Lane though,
I know they do.
and that he just got blown out by Saban.
I know. Those are the names that I've heard
And
forever.
DeBoer from Louisville.
Okay, so yeah, I agree with Tyler. Thanksgiving, football, deer hunting, food. That's what I would say, those three things. Right?
Yeah. And family.
Oh, yeah, and family. We'll put that number 4.
Are we going to be together at Thanksgiving this year?
You tell me, newlywed.
I'm planning on going to Granger's. People always talk about being married and how difficult it is
We're
with
not going to
family.
be Rangers.
I'm curious to people at home listening.
We're going to the ranch.
Oh yeah, we're going to the ranch. I'm curious to people listening if everybody gets together, all your extended family, if you guys just stay with your separate families. We're a little bit different because Tyler and I were so old before we got married. We all just ended up coming back together, and we all live in the same. We all live in
I
the
got
same
married.
city.
I'm not married yet.
Yeah, I just mean I got married. Tyler didn't. We were both very old.
Let me just say to the
not married.
podcast, we have some really special news coming up with Tyler and this whole conversation. It's coming. So hang tight for that. That's a little cliffhanger for you. The third brother is finally getting. Well, we'll tell you later. Hang on. That's the thumbnail. Well, Thanksgiving's about them pilgrims that come over there, in them boats and stuff, and they start making corn and shooting turkeys. And
Really?
Who's doing the turkey this year, by the way? Did you do it again Friday last year?
I think maybe it was me, but I always say, hey, I'm retiring from turkey making.
You've only done it like 3 or 4 years.
I've done it since we lost Dad, which has been about 9. And
So what are other options if you don't do it? Why don't you like to do
we
it?
don't have to fry one is one option.
Just put it in the oven.
Just cook it in the oven. The only thing about frying the turkey that I don't like is that I'm kind of out of the mix of everyone else just hanging and watching football. Y'all are like, oh, touchdown. And I'm like sitting out there watching the fire. I could fix that by just bringing the iPad out and watching the game. But
Somebody get Granger an iPad. Like a little kid.
Let's just try it in the oven this year. I don't think we're losing much by making that change.
That's a false statement. Fried turkey's so much better.
When was the last time you had one in the oven, though?
Exactly. It's not any good.
I heard if you put mayonnaise on it, it gives it a better crisp than just like butter and seasoning or whatever.
That sounds good. Okay.
Does Thanksgiving have any origins with Christianity? I actually don't know.
Well, the Pilgrims were escaping religious persecution from Europe. So, in a way, yes, they were trying to escape the evil Catholic Church. Just bringing things full circle here.
Everything's connected with the Catholic Church.
Everything's connected.
The Pilgrims were escaping the Catholic Church.
Yeah, is that the thumbnail? That's not the title.
From where?
So the Puritans. Okay, remember the Puritans? Parker's got books over here. Parker studied the Puritans for a long time, but the Puritans, like what they are essentially, are the people in Europe, Western Europe, that were escaping the persecution by saying, we believe what the Bible says, this, and people are like, oh, you Puritans was actually a derogatory term. You Puritans, you people, just like Christians originally was a derogatory term. So the Pilgrims were part of that persecution and leaving. Like, that's the reason America was established, was fleeing religious persecution. And the majority of that religious persecution was coming from the Church of England. Yeah.
There you have it.
Remember Bloody Mary? Like, literally, they were killing the Queen of England was literally killing pastors. That's why she was called Bloody Mary.
That's a drink, isn't it?
And it became a drink.
Well, thank you guys for listening. This has been the Thanksgiving
We covered
special.
so many topics on this podcast. Wow.
What's the title and thumbnail going to be?
Any last words? Thanksgiving week to Yee Nation.
I want to say this. A lot of things were said on this podcast, and maybe we need some fact checks and debunking. So comment below if you're on watching or listening on a platform with commenting. Feel free to debunk it. Brian will go through these comments, and we'll kick up another podcast and say that we were wrong about whatever we said.
What are you thankful for?
What are you thankful for, Tyler, this year? You better not get this answer wrong, because there's only one right answer.
Well, I mean, if that's kind of assumed, then what else should I say?
It's growing in Amy's belly right now. That's what we're thankful for this Thanksgiving. A new nephew, Tyler. We got a new nephew.
You're going to be an uncle for the first time.
I'll be an uncle for the first time.
How does that feel?
I am. You already know. I'm ecstatic. When this was announced, I was just like so ecstatic. To hold another Smith boy, another lineage from Papa Smith, our dad, and seeing Dad's face and this little boy is going to be incredible. So yeah, that's the top of the list for me. Thanksgiving, thankfulness.
Yeah, that's going to be so fun for Mav to meet him. I mean, Lincoln and Lennon too, but just being closer to age. He's going to have a little buddy, a little cousin.
Yep.
What are you thankful for, Park?
I honestly forget that I'm going to be a dad in a couple months. It doesn't feel real yet. I was telling Amy, who is my wife, last night that it's really hard right now because we don't know what it's like to even have a child. And so Amy's just like, ribs are killing her, her back's killing her. And like, we know it's a blessing, of course, but I was like, once we have our first, then we'll be like, oh, it's David. Yeah, like that's David. That pregnancy, all that, he was in there, you know? And so the next pregnancy, it'll be a little bit different because right now we have nothing to go off of, really, if that makes sense, because we're not parents at all. And so it's kind of, your first pregnancy is kind of weird because you're both just kind of like sitting around. You're like, oh yeah, like we have like a human being coming soon. Yeah, but we're excited.
I wonder what his first rifle is that he's going to shoot a deer with.
Tati's truck?
6.5 Creedmoor, the silencer. Suppressor, I mean.
Just another topic for the podcast. It just keeps growing.
All right, I think that's all we got.
Yep. See you guys.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next
Yee
time.
Yee.